Future Market has thousands of board games at discounted prices. Click the direct link below to see all of those discounted games. Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Today, time is ticking fast. 30 seconds is gonna be up quick because when time's up, you're done and you're gonna get your score after that. Today we're taking a look at Time's Up, a new edition of this. It is a new family edition from R&R Games. This is a classic party game with this little twist of family edition, which is pretty different from the original version, even though it plays the same. Let me show you. Now this is a team versus team party game where you're going to be trying to give clues to your teammates. And you'll notice that there's a bunch of double-sided cards. There's actually 270 cards that come in this. And there's two sides, orange or blue. You can say which side you're playing for the day. And so you're going to be going through different rounds and giving clues. For example, you might need them to guess tricycle or lake or moth or potato chip or jack-o'-lantern. But the ways that you do this changes throughout the game. So the way it works is each player is going to get a certain amount of cards. You're going to have 40 cards total for each game, and players are going to get cards, and they're going to be able to look at these. So if these were my cards, I would be able to look at the other side. You're going to play either. Everyone's playing yellow or blue, or orange or blue, and you'd be able to look at these so you actually have an idea of which cards are in there. You actually have some knowledge about these that nobody else has at the beginning of the game, which is one little twist in this. But then all of the cards get stacked up and shuffled into one deck, so you got 40 cards here. And teams are going to be taking turns rotating, and on your turn, one of your teammates is going to be the clue giver. You're going to flip this timer over, it's a 30-second timer, and they are going to take this and try to get you to guess it. Now, depending on the round, the game is played over 3 rounds. Now, the box itself actually doubles as the scoreboard. It comes with a nice little marker here, or a dry erase marker, so you can keep track of the team's scores in the 3 different rounds, and then the total you can put in there. So let's talk about the 3 different rounds. So let's say we're playing orange. In the first round, you're going to flip over the cards, the first card. Only the clue giver can see this, and they're only giving clues to their team. Now, what they can do in the first round is they can say as many words as they want. You can't say certain things like, any part of the word and things like that. But you can say as many words as you want, or you can act it out or make sounds. So you could be hammering on a drum. You could be making noises. You could say, hey, this is an instrument that keeps the beat. All that sort of stuff. And you cannot pass in the first round because you have so much flexibility. If they get it right, great. You put it off to the side and you do another one. Paint. So you might just be like, going like this. This is what I do to the wall to change the color. Paint, right? Sounds easy, right? You'll do as many as you can in this 30 seconds. The cards that are guessed correctly stay out of the pile and they stay in front of that team. These are going to be points, 1 point per card, and then this passes to the next player, which is going to be someone on the other team. So you're just going to alternate. Each team's going to get chances of doing this, and then every time it's a team's turn, somebody else is the clue giver. Now you'll do this till all 40 cards have been guessed, then you'll write how many points each team got. All 40 cards are then going to get put in a stack, and every single one of these is going to get read at the end of the round. And this only happens at the end of the first round, but what it does is it lets everyone sort of remember everything that's in here, like egg and squirt gun and pyramid and beanstalk and tricycle and so on and so forth. And so that everyone sort of gets them in their brain because you're going to need it. Because in the second round, you can only say 1 word. You can still use noises and sounds, but you only get 1 word, and they only get 1 guess. If someone guesses they get it wrong, this will get shuffled back in the pile. So this comes up, and you might just say, wake. And they might go, oh yeah, alarm clock. Or you'll just go, like that, right? And so you do different things like this. And again, but you only have 1, but you can pass. So if you don't like this one or they're not getting it, you can just put it off to the side, that'll get shuffled in, and then you go this one. Ooh, you know what? Egg kind of tough. I don't know. Let's go this one. Squirt gun. So then you're doing the thing. So that's pretty much how the second round works. Now you don't read the cards again at the end of the second round because everyone kind of knows them. And so in the third round, it's similar. You shuffle all 40 cards. You're going back and forth. Flagpole. Now, in this case, in the third round, you can't say anything. It's all just sort of charades, acting it out, making noises, things like that, and you're trying to get it. And same thing as you can pass, but your team only gets 1 guess. So it gets harder as the game goes on, but you have more flexibility. You can pass, and things like that. Now, I know we were playing orange before, but I had this in my previous game. In the beginning of the rounds, people say, hey, this is kind of like a butterfly. They're kind of a pain in the butt. You kind of squash them, and we ended up getting moth, right? But how we ended up getting this is someone smacked the wall as if they were killing it, or smacked it in their hands and looked all gross. And then it's just funny because you'll have callbacks to what that is. So now if someone just hits the wall, they know it's a moth. And that's kind of like the fun things that happens in this game. At the end of the third round, whoever has the most points is the winner. Yeah, going into this, let me just put my biases up front that Time's Up, generally speaking, is, in my opinion, still one of the best party games, period. It works well with gamers, with non-gamers. If you're ever hovering around Board Game Geek Con at the end of the day, or late at night, you'll see one of the best designers in the world, if not the best, Eric Lane, walking around with a Time's Up box. And he just walks around for a good hour, tells people which room to go to, and there's usually a huge group there playing. I mean, this is just one of the best party games. And so that's my bias going in. I love the original. I had not played this family version before. And the biggest difference between the regular version and this is the regular version is all about people. So it's always like famous people. So whether it's like an actor or a historical figure or this or that. And there was also another one called Title Recall, and that was all about song and movie titles and things like that. I did not like that version just because I'm not in that. I don't watch a lot of TV and stuff. And then the other thing, and then this one is the family version. So as you saw, it's like person, place, or thing, basically nouns. I don't think you saw a whole lot of people, but they had things like Mickey Mouse in there and things like that. But mostly it's things. And so that's the big difference here. You don't need to know people or figures. You just need to know things. Right? So it's a little easier. But spoiler, I actually like this better than the original. So the things I like about this, the arc of the game is so good because you're using the same cards. Even at the beginning, you get a little bit of knowledge that other people don't have. You know what some of those cards are. So when people are giving clues in the first round, you're like, oh, that must have been this one. And sometimes people are like, how did you know that? Well, it was one of my cards, right? It's kind of cool. You have some like hidden knowledge at the beginning. Really fun. And then as the rounds go on, first round you can just, you can say as much as you want, pretty much. You can make noises, you can pantomime, things like that, but you can't pass, right? So interesting. But then at the end of the first round, you get to hear all of the words again, right? And so it kind of is like by the beginning of the second round, it's kind of like you've got a pretty good knowledge of which cards are in there. But then as it goes on, it gets harder because you can say less. You can say one word in the second one. You can't. You can pass, but they only get one guess. Right? In the third round, you can't say anything, right? So it gets harder, but you know the cards more and more, and so it's just a really interesting arc that really makes this game what it is. And the best part about this game are the callbacks. I mentioned sort of an overview where we started describing the moth as like a weird butterfly, and then this and that, and the first couple times no one got it, and then someone, I think it might have been me, just smacked the wall as if I was smacking a bug, and someone said moth, right? And now for the rest of the game, when someone smacks a wall, oh, it's a moth. Or sometimes you have people that will do clues that somehow you didn't think they'd get it. They get it. It's not the obvious move or thing to a noise to make for that thing. But because it was funny or because it was whatever, that becomes the thing for that clue. And so people are doing callbacks towards the end of the game. It's just the callbacks in this game are awesome. I love that the rounds don't stall, because towards the end you're going to be getting to cards that are typically harder to get, right? But it doesn't really stall because as you get close to the end, there's less cards. Meaning when you go and you're giving clues, because you can pass, you're going to be passing through some of these harder ones, you're going to see the cards. So the cards are going to go around, and then when your team is giving the clues again, you already know what those are. So you're like, oh, it's just between one of these four cards. Let me see what they're doing. It's got to be one of these four, right? So it doesn't stall. That works so well. It's such an easy design choice, but it works so well. I like the flexible player counts, right? I have played this with a group of 40x people, 42 people, into two big groups. Now the rules say go into teams of two. I kind of disagree. I think this game's better with two teams, regardless of how many players you have. Now, there are some good rules in here. I have played it with three. There are some good rules with 3, 5, and 7, like odd player counts, how to make it work, how to keep everyone involved. Those work, but quite honestly, I still like two teams. For me, that's been my best experience with this game. Again, I played it with 40-something people with two big teams. It's a hoot and holler when everyone's yelling out stuff. I mean, it's great. Now, obviously, in the later rounds, any one of the 20 people yell out a guess it's wrong, they got to go to the next one, right? But you sink or swim at your team. Anyway, flexible player counts from 3 to as many as you want, really. And again, because the reasons I mentioned before, I like this better than the original, which is crazy. Because it's like, okay, so you might get a card that says fairy in this one, right? Where in the original one it said Tinkerbell, right? Most people know who Tinkerbell is, but there are some characters, and I think there was Jack Sparrow in the original one. I don't know if there's a pirate one in here, but you can see where I'm going. Like, it's more general, and you do the same things that you're doing for pirate than you would for Jack Sparrow. Although maybe for Jack Sparrow you would actually say, Johnny Depp or something like that. So there's other things you can do, but there's other things you do with pirate. You could say, eye patch or stuff like that. So I just think this is as good, if not better, than the original, because sometimes there were some that are just really hard to get. In the end, those sometimes become the most fun ones. Fair enough. But I think for an ease of play, this is just my favorite version. The game has tons of replayability. With 270 cards, 2 words per card, 40 cards per game. You could play this 13 and a half times without even seeing a repeat word, possibly. You just separate them out. When you play with a certain cards, put those 40 like in a Ziploc bag, put them in the thing, and you know not to use those until you've gone through all of them. So tons of replayability here. My only negative for this is not for people that have stage fright, because at some point you're going to be standing up and giving a clue in front of other people, and some people hate that to death. When I do have somebody that's in a group like that feels that way, I just said, you know what? That's another reason why I like to have play with larger teams. This person has a fear of standing in front of people and making clues. Just let them be a guesser. Not a big deal. This is a party game, right? So if you don't like to get up on stage, you can still, it's a negative, but at the same time, it's not really that bad because you can just be a guesser and have just fun. So anyway, for all these reasons, this game is absolutely staying in my gaming library, and it's getting a Saxophone Serenade, one of the best party games ever. It is Time's Up Family Edition. Game Toppers upgrades every game you play, and if you missed their 4.0 Kickstarter, you can still late pledge and take advantage of over 40 unlocked stretch goals and early fulfillment. This campaign featured a new Young Sherlock table, perfect for children's gaming, and movable coffee table, 10 new thematic mats by top artists like Vincent Dutray, a new designer art series Minecraft topper with thematic art from Brent Woodside, and some of the best package deals they've had, including game mat bundles. Go to GameToppersLLC.com or click the link below to late pledge now.